Hello and welcome back to another episode of Humans in 5.
In one of our previous episodes, I mentioned that I recently went on holiday to Uzbekistan. I had an amazing time there, and one of my experiences is a great jumping off point for a subject that touches on many parts of the world and lots of different fields of thought.
Well, why don't you start telling us about your experience in Uzbekistan, and then we'll get to the complicated bit.
Good call. The history of Uzbekistan is quite deep, as it was a major part of trading goods throughout Asia, Northern Africa, and Southern Europe from the 2nd millennium BC and onwards. On my trip, I learned about many different historical figures in Uzbek history, but none impressed me more than Ulugh Beg.
Ulugh Beg was born in the 1400s in Persia. He was a brilliant mathematician and astronomer who built an observatory in Samarkand in 1428. Using it, he cataloged 1,018 stars, improving on previous catalogs from other scholars. He calculated the length of a year and was only 58 seconds out from the correct figure. And he was one of the first to compute the axial tilt of the Earth.
And for all of his achievements, I had never heard of him.
It's entirely possible that if you were passionate about astronomy, you may have heard of him before, or maybe if you did a degree in mathematics.
Very true, but think about it. Shouldn't his name be up there with Galileo and Newton? Why do we know Galileo's name and not his? I thought this was a very good example of Eurocentrism.
Eurocentrism was first used by the economist and political scientist Samir Amin. He defined it as the reliance on Western or European nations when it came to economic processes. But more recently, it's come to mean seeing the world from a specifically European or Western perspective.
A Eurocentric view is one that doesn't mention scholars like Ulugh Beg in school or popular culture, or one that always assumes that non-Western communities didn't have a lot going on before the arrival of Europeans.
There are plenty of reasons for Eurocentric views to pop up. The colonial project was based on European thoughts about their own dominance in every sense, and the bias towards a European perspective still exists in today's media and education. Colonialism has also heavily impacted economic processes, which again feed into how governments decide to distribute things like financial aid to other countries.
Happily, people are looking into other points of view in many different fields of study, and they're also talking about Eurocentrism in the wider world. Hopefully this means we can give historical figures like Ulugh Beg the recognition they deserve.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Humans in 5.
And don't forget to subscribe!